Have you ever wondered how each country in the world got its name? From the familiar names like the United States and France to the more exotic ones like Kyrgyzstan and Papua New Guinea, the stories behind these names are as diverse as the countries themselves. Join me as we uncover the mysteries behind the names. Let's start with Europe. Starting off in alphabetical order, we got Albania. It literally means land of the Albanians. The name Albania is believed to be derived from the Albanoi, an Illyrian tribe which lived in what is today central Albania from the 2nd century BC. The meaning of the word might have derived from the Latin term alba, meaning white. However, Albanians themselves have called their language Shqipe, their country Shqiperia, and themselves Shqiptare, in which Shqiperi means land of the understanding. Andorra. Its etymology is uncertain. It might have derived from the Arabic word ad-dara, meaning the forest, or the Navarro-Aragonese andurial, meaning scrubland. Other theory suggests that it comes from an Iberian tribe called the Andalusians. Next up, we got Armenia. Although it's technically not in Europe, it is considered European for historical cultural reasons. The early Armenian historian Movses Khorenatsi derived the name Armenia from Aramaic, the eldest son of the legendary Haik. The native name for Austria, Österreich, derives from the Old High German Österreichi, which meant Eastern Realm and which first appeared in the Österreichi document of 996, Azerbaijan. The country's name comes from the Persian words Azer, which means fire, and Bagan, which means protector. So putting it together, we got fire protector. Belarus. The name Belarus is closely related with the term Belaya Rus, which means white Rus. The term Rus is associated with a medieval Russian state, also with the original inhabitants of modern-day Russia. Belgium got its name from the Latin word Belgium, used by Julius Caesar to describe the region in 55 BC because it was inhabited by the Belgi tribe back then. The name Belgae is a native word that means people who swell with anger. Bosnia and Herzegovina. The word Bosnia is based on the Bosna River and central to north areas, so that does not help either in defining a single country. Herzegovina is the Mediterranean area of Bosnia and is called as such because there were once some Germanic Herzog ruler and the principality kept its German title. The word Herzog, derived from the German, means duke. The name Bulgaria comes from the Bulgars, the extinct tribe of Turkic origin, which created the country. Their name is possibly derived from the Proto-Turkic word bulga, which means to mix or shake, which makes it a whole lot harder and difficult to understand. Croatia. It derives from the same Latin medieval word Croatia, which means the Croatians. This is mostly originated from the Scytho-Sarmatian word Koroathos, which was referred to a Slavic tribe in the 3rd century. The word itself means those who have many lands. Cyprus. Same as Armenia, it's technically in Asia, but still considered European due to its historical and cultural reasons, such as its close ties with Greece and Turkey. The origin is uncertain, but there are 3 popular theories. One suggests that it comes from the Greek word for the cypress tree, kyparissos. Others say that it derived from the Greek word for the henna tree, kypros. And finally, a non-Greek related theory says that it derives from an Iron Age language word for copper, kuprum. Czechia, or Czech Republic. It is a Latinized version of the endonym Czechy, which means land of the Czechs. The country was formerly known as Bohemia, from the Latin Boiohemun, which means home of the boy, a Celtic tribe in the region. The origin of boy is uncertain, although it has been connected to Proto-Indo-European roots, meaning cow and warrior. Denmark. This consists of 2 words, Dan and Mark. The first word might have derived from Dani, a local tribe, Dan, a legendary king, or the meaning Dan itself, which is flat land. The word mart could mean woodland or borderland. Estonia. Early Latin versions of the name were Estia and Hestia. It may be that the name Estonia originated from the Esti people, described by the Roman historians in about 98 CE. The word Esti might have been related to the word Ost, meaning east. Finland. It means land of the Finns. In Finnish, the country is named Suomi, and it could be related to a Proto-Balto-Slavic word known as Zeme, which means low land. France. Land of the Franks, anglicized from the Latin word Francia. The word Frank could be related either to the Proto-Germanic word frankon, meaning spear or javelin, or frankisk, which means free or sincere. The second theory might be more realistic because the characteristic weapons of the Franks were the sword and the Frankish axe, not spears. Georgia. It is believed that the country's name is derived from the Persian and Arabic name for Georgians, Gurge, and this reached Western Europe through the Crusaders and Pilgrims. In their native tongue, Georgians call themselves the Kartveli and their country Sakartvelo, which means place of the Kartvelians. The word itself comes from the Mingrelian language, from the word karta, meaning enclosed place. Germany. Its meaning is uncertain. It comes from the Latin term Germania, adopted and popularized by Julius Caesar to refer to the people east of the Rhine River. Germania simply means land where the Germani live. The English names Greece and Greek are derived via the Latin Graecia and Graecus from the name of the Graeci, who were among the first ancient Greek tribes to settle Magna Graecia in southern Italy. The name Hungary is adapted from Hungaria, the medieval Latin term derived by writers from the name of the people Ungari or Ungri. The word derives from the Old Bulgarian Agrinu, which itself comes from the Turkic Onogur, meaning people of the 10 arrows, or alliance of the 10 tribes. Iceland. It's self-explanatory. It means land of ice. Ireland. In Irish, the country's name is Éire, from the Old Irish Eru, a goddess in Irish mythology meaning flowing water. Italy. There are a lot of theories surrounding the name of this country. One suggests that it's named after an ancient southern Italian term, vitelliu, meaning land of young cattle. Others says that it comes from the mythological figure Italus. This might be controversial, but Kazakhstan has a European side. Therefore, I'm including it to the list. It's very simple, though. It means land of the Kazakhs. The word Kazakh means nomad or free. Another controversial country on the list, well, not quite a fully established and 100% legal country yet, because not all countries have recognized this country as a country. We got Kosovo. It comes from the Serbian word kos, meaning black bird, and ovo, which is a suffix used in Serbian to describe a possessive adjective. Therefore, we got field of blackbird. Latvia. It means land of the Latvian people. The word itself might have derived from the ancient Latgalians, a regional tribe. Liechtenstein. This one seems hard, but it's actually pretty simple. It comes from the German Lightstone, light as in bright. Lithuania. Some link it to the word lieti, meaning to consolidate, or to unite, referring to the first union of tribes in ethnic Lithuanian lands. Alternatively, could be derived from the Lietava River in central Lithuania. Luxembourg. The country, which was initially called Ardennes, named itself after its homonym capital city, founded in the year 963. It comes from the Celtic Luculum, meaning small, and the Germanic burg, which means castle or fortress. Therefore, we got Luculemburg, standing for little castle or little fortress. Malta. It comes from the Greeks and Romans who used to call the island Melita, meaning honey. The word Melita itself might have derived from the Phoenician word maleth, which stands for a haven. Moldova. It possibly comes from the Moldova River in Romania. The word itself comes from the Gothic molda, meaning dust or mud. Monaco. Possibly from the Greek monoikos, meaning single house. Montenegro. From the Venetian language, which means Black Mountain. This is referring to the Mount Lovzen and its dark coniferous forests. Netherlands. It literally means low countries or lowlands. It comes from the Dutch word neder, which means down or below, since it's a country which is normally below the average sea level. The country is commonly mistaken with the name Holland. Holland is a province in the Netherlands, which historically became the most economically and politically important province in the country. North Macedonia. It comes from the Greek Macedonia, a kingdom named after the ancient Macedonians. Their name, Macedones, comes from the ancient Greek adjective makednos, meaning tall or length. Norway. From the Old Norse noror and veger, which stands for northern way. Poland. Again, it means land of Polands. The word itself might have derived from the Polish pole, which means field or open field. Portugal. From the Latin portus cale, modern-day Porto and Gaia. Portus is the Latin for port, but the meaning of cale is debated. Some say that it derives from the Greek calis, meaning beautiful, and others say that it comes from the Latin calere, meaning to heat. Romania. This one is easy. It's obviously related to the Romans. The Roman Empire conquered a large part of the country, and the inhabitants became Romanized. Russia. From the Byzantine Greek Rosia, meaning land of the rose. Generally agreed to be from a Varangian group known as the Rus, named after the Roslagen region in Sweden, ultimately from Old Norse rods, meaning row or rower. Serbia. From the words Serb and Sorb, which come from Sarbi, meaning family or alliance. Slovakia. From the Slavic Slavs, meaning land of the Slavs. The origin of the word Slav itself remains uncertain. Slovenia. Same as Slovakia, it means land of the slaves in Slovene and other South Slavic languages. Spain. It comes from Hispania, but the etymological origin of the term Hispania is uncertain, although the Phoenicians referred to the region as Spania, meaning land of rabbits. Therefore, the most accepted theory is the Phoenician one. The name Sweden comes from the warlike Svea tribe that became powerful around 500 AD. Swedes call their land Sverige, which means land of the Svea. The Svea began to make raids along the coasts of northern Europe and became known as Vikings, which means pirate in an Old Norse language. Switzerland. It means land of the Switzer. Switzer is an Old English term for the Swiss people, and Swiss comes from the French Suisse, which itself comes from the word Schweitzer, an inhabitant of Schweiz, a commune in modern-day Switzerland. This might have derived from the word suites, which means to burn. Turkey. It means land of the Turks. The word Turk is derived from the terms Turuk or Toruk, which mean created and strong, respectively. The name of Ukraine is frequently interpreted as coming from the Old Slavic term for borderland, as is the word krajina. Another interpretation is that the name of Ukraine means region or country. United Kingdom. It literally means a union created in 1707 between England, Wales, and Scotland, although it became official in 1801 when they brought in Ireland to the Union. Before that, it was called Great Britain, in which the Roman term Britannia comes from the local Pretani, meaning the painted ones. On the other hand, England comes from the Old English word Anglaland, which means land of the Angles. Scotland, from the Roman word Scotia, meaning land of the Scoti, and Wales, which means friends, from the Welsh Cymru. Finally, we got the Vatican City. The word Vatican got its name from the Vatican Hill, from the Latin Vaticinium, meaning prediction, or the other Latin word vaticinatio, meaning prophecy, since the Vatican Hill was the headquarters of an Etruscan oracle or perhaps the name of a settlement of the same origin, Vaticum. Let's keep it going with America. Antigua and Barbuda. Antigua is Spanish for ancient, and Barbuda is also Spanish for bearded, although it is still known as Wadadli by the natives. The word Antigua was introduced by the explorer Christopher Columbus after a cathedral in Seville, Spain, named Santa Maria la Antigua. The word Barbuda could be related to the bearded inhabitants of the islands or the bearded fig tree present on the islands. Argentina. The country's name comes from the Latin word for silver, argentum, and Argentina is indeed a great source of valuable minerals. The word Argentina comes from Italian, first used in a Phoenician map in the year 1536, which meant made of silver, probably borrowed from the old French word Argentine, also meaning made of silver. The name Bahamas is derived from the Lucayan name Bahama, large upper middle island, used by the indigenous Taino people for the island of Grand Bahama. Tourist guides often state that the name comes from the Spanish Baja Mar, shallow sea. The name Barbados is from either the Portuguese term Os Barbados or the Spanish equivalent, Los Barbados, both meaning the bearded ones, again referred to the bearded inhabitants or the bearded fig tree. Belize. The word is believed to be originated after the Belize River, originally called Balize, from the Mayan word Balix, which means muddy-watered. Other sources state that it might have originated from the Mayan phrase Bel Itza, meaning road to Itza, a local city of the Mayan Empire. Bolivia, named after Simón Bolívar, an independence fighter and leader who broke away from the Spanish rule in 1825. Brazil got its name from the Portuguese word for Brazil wood, a local tree called pau-brasil, with Brazil meaning red like an ember, also from the word brasa, meaning ember. Canada likely comes from the Huron-Iroquois word kanata, meaning village or settlement. In 1535, two Aboriginal youths told French explorer Jacques Cartier about the route to Kanata. They were actually referring to the village of Stadacona, the site of the present-day city of Quebec. Chile. This one has two popular theories. One suggests that the Incas called the valley of the Aconcagua Chile after a tribar chief called Tili. The other theory says that it comes from the Mapuche word Chile, meaning where the land ends, or from the Quechua word Chiri, meaning cold. Colombia. This one is straightforward. It derived from the last name of the explorer Christopher Columbus. Costa Rica. This means rich coast in Spanish. When Christopher Columbus came to Costa Rica in 1502, he believed that the land was filled with precious metals like gold. Because of this belief, he called the land Rich Coast, or Costa Rica. The name Cuba comes from the Taino language. The exact meaning of the name is unclear, but it may be translated either as where fertile land is abundant, Cubao, or great place, Coabana. Dominica, named by Christopher Columbus after the Latin term Dominicus, meaning Sunday, the day when the explorer discovered the island. Dominican Republic. You might think it also comes from Dominicus, but surprisingly, it doesn't. It actually comes from the founder of the Order of the Dominicans, Santo Domingo de Guzman, referred to as Saint Dominic in English. Its capital, Santo Domingo, also comes from him, Ecuador. This is the only country in the world that got its name from the scientific and geographical term for the equator. Now, the word equator comes from the Latin aequator, from the phrase circulus equator diei et noctis, meaning circle equalizing day and night. With that being said, the word equator means equalizing. El Salvador. The country was named after the Spanish word for the Savior in honor of Jesus Christ. The country of Granada has its origin uncertain, but likely to be named after the Spanish city of Granada. The word Guatemala comes from the native Nahuatl word Cuauhtemalan, meaning place of many trees. Guyana. Guyana is an Amerindian word that means land of many waters. And Guyana's name was chosen at independence to preserve that early imagery. Haiti. It comes from the indigenous Taíno language and means land of high mountains. Honduras. It translates to depths in Spanish, referred to the depth of the Trujillo Bay in modern-day Honduras. The word Jamaica actually derives from the Arawak word Zaymaca, meaning land of wood and water. The name Mexico is a Nahuatl term derived from the words Metztli, moon, Zictli, navel or center, and co, place. Mexico's name, therefore, means the place in the center of the moon, and refers to the fact that the Aztecs built Tenochtitlan in the middle of the Lake of the Moon, later called Lake Texcoco, Nicaragua. The country got its name from Nicarao, the chieftain of a powerful indigenous tribe, and the Spanish word for water, agua. For Panama's earliest inhabitants, fishing was central to life. It is therefore not surprising that the name Panama comes from an indigenous word that translates to abundance of fish. The name Paraguay stems from the Guarani word Paragua, meaning feather crown, and Y, meaning water. Putting it together, we got feather crown of waters. The name Peru is derived from a Quechua word implying land of abundance, a reference to the economic wealth produced by the rich and highly organized Inca civilization that ruled the region for centuries. St. Kitts and Nevis. In the 17th century, a common nickname for Christopher was Kit. Hence, the island came to be informally referred to as St. Kitts Island, later further shortened to St. Kitts. Columbus gave Nevis the name San Martin, St. Martin. St. Lucia was named after St. Lucy of Syracuse. St. Lucia is one of 2 sovereign states in the world named after a woman, and is the only one named after a human woman. Ireland is named after a goddess. St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Before 1498, the island was called Ulumain, in honor of Uluka, a spirit that supposedly inhabited the island. Christopher Columbus named the island St. Vincent, since it is said to have been discovered on 22nd of January, the feast day of the patron saint of Lisbon and Valencia, Vincent of Saragossa. Again, Grenadines might have derived from the Spanish city of Granada. Suriname, from the indigenous people called Surinen, or from the river Surinamo. Trinidad and Tobago. Christopher Columbus named the Trinidad portion after the Holy Trinity. Rumor has it people started calling the other, smaller island Tobago because of all the tobacco grown by the natives there. United States of America. This one is very simple. It means the union of states, 50 to be exact, in America, the continent. The word America comes from the explorer Americo Vespucci. Uruguay. It is named after the Uruguay River. The word itself might have derived from the native Guarani, meaning bird river. It could also refer to a river snail called Uruguay. Venezuela. According to the most popular and accepted version, in 1499, an expedition led by Alonso de Ojeda visited the Venezuelan coast. The stilt houses in the area of Lake Maracaibo reminded the Italian navigator Amerigo Vespucci of the city of Venice, Italy, so he named the region Veneziola, or Little Venice. 2 continents done. Let's go to Africa. Let's start with a simple one, Algeria. The name derives from the city of Algiers. The most common etymology links the city name to Al-Jazair, which means the islands, a truncated form of the city's older names, Jazair Bani Mazgana, islands of the Mazgana tribe. What about Angola? The name comes from the Portuguese colonial name, Reino de Angola, appearing as early as in the Dias de Novaes' 1571 charter. The toponym was derived by the Portuguese, from the title Ngola, held by the kings of Ndongo. Benin. During the colonial period and at independence, the country was known as Dahomey. To get rid of the colonial past, it was renamed in 1975 to Benin after the Benin Empire, even though the empire never held territory near the current nation. Now, the name Benin could mean vexation in Yoruba. Next up is Botswana, the country of the Tswana in Setswana, after the country's dominant ethnic group. The etymology is uncertain. Livingstone derived it from the Setswana Chwana, which means equal or alike, others from a word for free. Next up is Burkina Faso. It means land of the honest men, from an amalgam of more Burkina, meaning honest, upright, or incorruptible men, and Dioula Faso, father's house, selected by the President Thomas Sankara following his 1983 coup to replace the colonial name of Alto Volta, upper turn in Portuguese. Burundi, German and later Belgian colony named after the main kingdom of Burundi. Bu or Bo means land in Bantu languages, but Rundi is of unknown origin. Cameroon, shrimp from the Portuguese Rio de Camaroes, meaning shrimp river, bestowed in 1472 on account of a massive swarm of the Wouri River's ghost shrimp. What about Cape Verde? This means green cape, from the Portuguese Cabo Verde, a name given by Portuguese explorers in 1444. Central African Republic. It means just that, a republic in Central Africa. Chad. It comes from the Lake Chad, in the country's southwest, whose name derives from the Kanuri Tsade Lake, so it basically means lake. Comoros. From the Arabic Jazair al-Qamar, meaning islands of the moon. Now we got the Ivory Coast. It's self-descriptive. It comes from its previous involvement in the ivory trade. Democratic Republic of the Congo, named after the River Congo, which, according to one etymology, took its name from the mountain it came from. The same goes for the Republic of the Congo. Following up, we got Djibouti. The country's name has been traced to its district Gabout, the Afar Gabuti, a king of doormat made from palm fibers. Egypt. The name Egypt comes from the Greek Aegyptos, which was the Greek pronunciation of the ancient Egyptian name Haka-Ptah, mansion of the spirit of Ptah, originally the name of the city of Memphis. Guinea. From the Berber language Ginawan, Aguinau, or Aguinau, which means black. What about Eritrea? It means land of the Red Sea, adopted in 1993 upon independence from Ethiopia, from the Italian colony established in 1890, named by Francesco Crispi on the suggestion of Carlo Dossi. It was italicized from the Latin transcription Mare Erythraeum of the Greek Erythra thalassa, Ethiopia. It comes from the Greek Ethiopia, from Athiops, meaning charred complexion, where aphtho means I burn, and ops means I face complexion. What about Gabon? Cloak anglicized from the Portuguese gabão, bestowed on the Como River estuary for its supposed resemblance to a gabão, a kind of pointy hooded overcoat whose name derives from the Arabic Kaaba, Gambia. It comes from the Portuguese word cambio, meaning exchange or trade, from the region's extensive involvement in the slave trade. Continuing with Ghana, which means warrior king, and was the title accorded to the kings of the medieval West African Empire. Next up, we got Kenya. It originates from the Kikuyu, Embu, and Kamba names for Mount Kenya, Kirinyaga, Kirinya, and Kenya, respectively. The spots of the black rock and the white snow could be the origin of the words Kirinyaga, which means spotted. Lesotho, land of the Basotho, or of the Sesotho speakers. Basotho formed from the plural prefix ba and sotho of uncertain etymology, although it could be related to the word motho, meaning human being. Liberia, from the Latin word liber, which means free. named after the country was established as a homeland for freed African American slaves in 1820. Libya, named after the ethnic group Libu by the ancient Greeks. Until the country's independence in 1951, the term Libya was applied to the vast desert between the Tripolitanian lowland and the Fezzan Plateau. Moving on to Madagascar, it was named in the 13th century after the explorer Marco Polo butchered the name as he was trying to say Mogadishu, the Somali port with which Polo had confused the island, but he ended up saying Madagascar. That a curious one for sure. Malawi, possibly based on a native word meaning flaming water or tongues of fire, believed to have derived from the sun's dazzling reflections on Lake Malawi. What about Mali? The name was chosen in 1959 after the ancient West African kingdom of the same name. The word Mali means hippopotamus in Malinke and Bomana. It was known as French Sudan before. Mauritania, Latin word for land of the Moors, or literally land of the blacks. Next up is Mauritius. The Dutch Admiral Wybrand van Warwick named this island Prince Maurits van Nassau-Eiland in 1598 after Maurice of Nassau, Stadtholder of Holland and Prince of Orange. Ironically, Maurisec also means black in Latin. Moving on with Morocco, the word comes from the ancient capital Marrakech, the name of which probably derives from the Berber word Amur and Ukuk, which means land of God. Mozambique, from the name of the island of Mozambique, which probably comes from the name of a previous Arab ruler, the Sheikh Musa ben Mbiki. And Namibia? It derives from the Namib Desert, which means area where there is nothing in the Nama language. Niger, called Black or Niger by Latin speaker but could be named after the Niger River, from a native term Nigir or River Gir, or from the Tuareg term Negiren. Nigeria, named by the British journalist Flora Shaw in 1897 in reference to the Niger River. Next up is Rwanda, derived from the Kinyarwanda verb kwanda, meaning the expansion. What about São Tomé and Príncipe? This has to be Portuguese, right? Well, you're right. It comes from St. Thomas in Portuguese for its discovery on St. Thomas Day, 23rd December 1470 or 1471. Príncipe means prince in Portuguese, from shortening its original name, Ilha do Príncipe, Island of the Prince. Senegal, named after the Senegal River. One popular theory is that it stems from the Wolof phrase, sunu gaal, which means our canoe, resulting from a miscommunication between 15th century Portuguese sailors and Wolof fishermen. Seychelles, named after Jean Moreau de Seychelles, finance minister to King Louis XV of France. Next up is Sierra Leone, adopted from the Portuguese word Serra Leoa, Lion Mountains. It was named by the Portuguese explorer Pedro de Sintra after the striking mountains he saw in 1562 while sailing the West African coast, although it remains unclear what exactly made the mountains look like lions. Somalia, the name Somali. It held to be derived from the words Sioux and Mal, which together mean go and milk. South Africa. The ancient Romans used the name Africa Terra, land of the Afri, for the northern part of the continent that corresponds to modern-day Tunisia. The word Afri might have derived from Greek Afriki, which means sunny. So South Africa could mean southern sunny land. What about Sudan? It derives from the land of the blacks from the Arabic belad as Sudan, which originally referred to most of the Sahel region. If so, South Sudan means the southern part of the land of the blacks. Tanzania, land of the Tanganyika and Zanzibar, a simplification of the original name which the country had assumed upon independence in 1964. Tanganyika was named for its lake. Richard Burton derived it from the local tu Tanganyika, meaning to join in the sense of where waters meet. Henry Stanley derived it from Tanganyika, meaning flat island. Zanzibar was an Arabic name meaning black coast. Togo. From Togo, modern Togoville, derived from the U word to and go, which mean water and shore, respectively. Continuing with Tunisia, it means land of Tunis, the capital. The word Tunis possibly derives from the Berber ians, meaning to lie down or to rest. Next up is Uganda. Buganda in Swahili, adopted by the British as the name of their colony in 1894. Buganda was the kingdom of the 52 clans of the Baganda. Zambia. The territory of what is now Zambia was known as Northern Rhodesia from 1911. It was renamed Zambia on the occasion of its independence in 1964. The name Zambia was derived from the Zambezi River. Finally, we got Zimbabwe. It was originally known as Southern Rhodesia from 1923 till 1965. The word is based on a Shona term for Great Zimbabwe, an ancient ruined city in the country's southeast, whose remains are now a protected site. Various sources hold that the word is derived from Dzimba Dzamabwe, translated from the Karanga dialect of Shona as large houses of stone. Now let's do a quick tour to Oceania. Starting off in alphabetical order, we got the biggest country in Oceania, Australia. It literally means southern land in Neo-Latin, adapted from the legendary pseudo-geographical Terra Australis Incognita, meaning unknown southern land, dating back in the Roman era. Next up, we got Fiji. It possibly means lookout, adapted from Fisi, the Tongan form of Viti, referring to the island of Viti Levu. Kiribati. It's an adaptation of Gilbert, from the former European name the Gilbert Islands. It was formerly named after the British captain Thomas Gilbert, who sighted the islands in 1788. Marshall Islands. It is named after the British captain John Marshall, who first documented the existence of the islands in 1788. The family name is rendered Majel in Marshallese. Micronesia, coined from the Greek words mikros and nesos, which means small and island, respectively. Therefore, we got small islands. What about Nauru? The name Nauru may derive from the Nauruan word anaoero, which means I go to the beach. The German settlers called the island Nawodo or Onawero. New Zealand. It's named after the province of Zeeland in the Netherlands, which means sea land in Dutch, referring to the large number of islands it contains. Abel Tasman referred to New Zealand as Staten Land, meaning land of the states, but later Dutch cartographers used Nova Zealandia in Latin, followed by New Zealand in Dutch, which Captain James Cook later anglicized to New Zealand. Continuing with Palau, it comes from the native name Belau, traditionally derived from Palauan Idabalau, meaning indirect replies, in reference to the island's creation story involving the destruction of the giant Chuab, a myth in the country. Papua New Guinea. The country acquired its name in the 19th century. The word Papua derives from Malay Papua, describing the hairstyles found in Papuan cultures. New Guinea comes from the Spanish explorer Íñigo Ortiz de Retes, who noted the resemblance of the local people to those he had earlier seen along the Guinea coast of Africa. Proceeding with Samoa, it means holy center, from a compound of the Samoan sa and moa, meaning sacred and center, respectively. Next, let's talk about the Solomon Islands. The name comes from the biblical King Solomon. Spanish explorer Alvaro de Mendaña y Neira gave the islands this name in 1567 or 1568. He hoped to find gold there, but he never did. Tonga. It means south or southern in Samoan, in reference to their position relative to Samoa. Its former name was Friendly Islands, given by James Cook in 1773 after the friendliness and hospitality of the people he met on the islands. Tuvalu. It comes from the Tuvaluan 8 islands, or 8 standing with each other. Its former name was Ellis Islands in honor of Edward Ellis, who owned the cargo of his ship Rebecca, which sighted the islands in 1819. Finally, we got Vanuatu. It's pretty simple, and it means our island in Bislama, the official language of Vanuatu. Same as a few countries, it has a former name, which is New Hebrides, bestowed again by James Cook in honor of the Hebrides in Scotland. Last but not least, let's go to Asia. Starting off in alphabetical order, we got Afghanistan. The name is formed by two words, Afghan and Istan. Afghan is a Persian word which comes from the Bactrian abagano, meaning far away or distant. The word Istan is a Persian suffix which means place of. Therefore, we got something like place of the distant people, or people from a distant land. Next up, we got Bangladesh, from the word Bangla, possibly derived from an ancient kingdom called Vanga. Another quick and straight theory says that it simply means land of Bengal, Bhutan, most likely from the way the Tibetans referred to the area, which is Bota Anta, meaning the end of the Tibet. Brunei. Its full name is actually Brunei Darussalam, in which Darussalam means abode of peace in Arabic. The etymology of Brunei is uncertain, but there's a theory that suggests that it might have derived from the Malay exclamation Baruna, which translates to there. Another earlier folk etymology traced it to his alleged membership in an Arabian tribe called the Buranun. Following up, we got Burma, also known as Myanmar. It's named after the Burmans, the nation's largest ethnic group. It is believed to be derived from the Indian Brahmadesh, meaning land of Brahma. A folk etymology stated that Myanmar comes from Mian, meaning fast, and Mar, meaning tough or strong. Up next, we got Cambodia, land of the Kambojas. The word itself comes from the Khmer Kampuchea, from the Sanskrit Kambuja Desa, which is derived from Kambu, a legendary Indian sage who journeyed to Indochina and married a Naga princess named Mera, China. It is derived from the Middle Persian Chini, from the Sanskrit Sina. It's often said that the word China and its related terms are derived from the Qin dynasty, which existed on the furthest west of China proper since the 9th century BC. East Timor. It literally means Eastern East, from the Portuguese Timor-Leste. The word Timor comes from the Malay Timur, which means east. Proceeding with India, it means land of the Indus River in Latin. From the Old Persian Hindu, the name of the Sindh province, ultimately derived from the Sanskrit Sindhu, the original name of the Indus River. Indonesia. It means Indian Islands in Greek, apparently invented in the mid-19th century to mean Indies Islands, from the island's previous name, East Indies. What about Iran? It means land of the Aryans, or land of the free. The term Arya is from a Proto-Indo-Iranian root, generally meaning noble or free, cognate with the Greek-derived word aristocrat. If so, what does Iraq mean? Well, the prevailing theory is that it is derived from the city of Uruk, modern-day Warqa, near the river Euphrates. Some archaeologists regard Uruk as the first major Sumerian city, in reference to Sumer, a civilization dating back to the 5th century BC. However, it is more plausible that name is derived from the Middle Persian word Arak, meaning lowlands. Israel, from the compound El and Isra, meaning God persists or God rules. Japan, from the Chinese word Riben, meaning sun origin. Therefore, it could be translated as land of the rising sun. Any thoughts on Jordan? It got its name in honor of the legendary Michael Jordan, the greatest NBA player of all time. Jokes aside, it was named after the Jordan River, in which Jordan possibly derives from the Hebrew and Canaanite ard, meaning descend, or more specifically, descending into the Dead Sea. Korea. It comes from Gaoli, Marco Polo's Italian rendition of Gaoli, the Chinese name for Goryeo, which had named itself after the earlier Goguryeo. The original name was a combination of the adjective go, meaning lofty, and a tribe named either Guru or Gauri, which mean walled city or center, respectively. Moving forward, we got Kuwait. It comes from the Arabic kut or kaut, meaning fortress built near water. Kyrgyzstan. It means land of the 40 tribes, from 3 words. Kyrg, meaning 40, Chilwiz, meaning tribes in East Turkic, and Stan, as we explained before with Afghanistan, it means land in Persian. What about Laos? It was coined under the French rule, derived from Lao Lao, meaning a Laotian or Laotian, possibly from an ancient Indian word lava, in reference to lava, the name of one of the twin sons of the god Rama. The name Lebanon is named after the Mount Lebanon, which originated from the Phoenician root LBN, meaning white, apparently from its snow-capped peaks. Malaysia. Land of the Malays, a combination between Malay and the Latin Greek suffix Asia. Malayadvapa was the word used by ancient Indian traders when referring to the Malay Peninsula. Let's go to the Indian Ocean, specifically to the Maldives. Scholars believe that the name Maldives derives from the Sanskrit Maladvipa, meaning garland of islands, Mongolia. It means land of the Mongols. It comes from the Mongolian Mongol of uncertain etymology, given variously as the name of a mountain or river, or a corruption of the Mongolian Monke Tengrigal, meaning eternal sky fire. It could also be a derivation from Mugulu, the 4th century founder of the Rouran Khaganate. The name of Nepal is derived from Nipa, as mentioned in the historical maps of South Asia. Nipa literally means those who domesticate cattle in the Tibeto-Burman languages. Other theory says that it might have derived from the Sanskrit word Nipalaya, which means abode at the foot of mountain, referring to its proximity to the Himalayas. Oman. Its etymology is uncertain, although it could be derived from the Arabic Aman or Aman, meaning settled people. Pakistan. It means land of the pure in Urdu and Persian. It was coined in 1933 as Pakistan by Chaudhry Ramat Ali, a Pakistan movement activist, who published it in his pamphlet Now or Never, using it as an acronym, 30 million Muslim brethren who live in Pakistan, referring to the names of the 5 northwestern regions of the British Indian Empire: Punjab, Afghania, Kashmir, Sindh, and Baluchistan. The English word Palestine is derived from the Latin Palestina, which is derived from the ancient Greek Palestine, which is in turn derived from the Hebrew Pelesheth, meaning land of the Philistines. Philippines. It means lands of Prince Philip of Asturias, from the Spanish Filipinas, honoring the future King Philip II of Spain, bestowed on the islands of Leyte and Samar by the explorer Ruy López de Villalobos in 1543, and later extended to refer to the entire archipelago. The name of Philip itself comes from the Greek Philippos, meaning lover of horses. Continuing with Qatar, it derives from Katara, possibly referring to the town of Zubara, an important trading port and town in the region in ancient times. Saudi Arabia. It's named after the House of Saud, the ruling dynasty of the country. The dynasty itself took its name from its patriarch Saud, whose name means happiness. Arabia is referred to as land of the Arabs, the inhabitants of the country. Singapore. It means lion city in Malay, which itself comes from the Sanskrit Simhapura. What about Sri Lanka? It literally means holy island, from the Sanskrit Sri and Lanka, meaning holy or resplendent, and island. The meaning of Syria is unknown, although it comes from the ancient Greek Syria. It's probably related to Syriac. Syriac people descend from Big Old Syria, which involved modern Syria, Lebanon, south of modern Turkey and north of current Iraq. Tajikistan, home of the Tajiks, a Persian-speaking ethnic group. The word itself comes from the Sogdian Tajik, which is derived from the Thai tribe with the meaning of Arab. Thailand. Again, it means land of the Thai. The name Thai itself is of uncertain etymology, although it has been argued to have originally meant people or human being, since some rural areas use the word in this way as opposed to the normal Thai word khon. Turkmenistan, home of the Turkmens, in which Turkmen comes from the Sogdian language, meaning Turk-like, in reference to their status outside the Turkic dynastic mythological system. United Arab Emirates. It's self-descriptive. It's a union of Arab emirs. Uzbekistan. It means land of the free. The word Uzbek is a compound formed by two Turkic words, zu and bek, meaning self and master. Second to last, we got Vietnam. It means Viet South in Vietnamese. It's pretty much an inversion of Nam Viet, the name of the 2nd century BC kingdom. The word Viet is a shortened form of Bach Viet, which in early usage applied to a people in Guangdong, China. Finally, we got Yemen. Its etymology is uncertain, though it probably comes from the Arabic im. Some people claim that it derives from Yamin, meaning right-hand side, but other people say that it comes from Yumn, meaning happiness, related to the region's classical name of Arabia Felix, in which Felix means happy, fortunate, or blessed. That was it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if so, leave a like and subscribe for more videos like these. If you have additional information about a country or you disagree with one, feel free to comment. Until next time.